Hi, everybody. I want to give you guys an update a little bit about an event that's happening in the future. And before I begin, I heard about what happened to Mr. Tarkarian and his planned Senate race. And I'm going to discuss about that later on because it's not too late. But we'll just see how that goes. But here's the thing. You have this event that's coming up pretty soon. It is on the August 9th, so it's basically about 14, 15 hours from now. And first of all, it's a taxpayer-funded event, a government event. And notice the thing right here. The whole event that you see right here is mentioned in Spanish. And what's so interesting is that there is no English translation on this. Folks, what does this tell you? Now, you may think that some event like this would happen in some parts of California, Chicago, New York City, but think again. It's happening in Las Vegas, folks. My gosh. You know, and again, I have nothing against Spanish speaking or Spanish language, but my concern is this looks pretty suspicious, folks. And this is a federal official that is trying to cater to a certain agenda. Now, I know some Spanish as well. I do think a lot of immigrants, actually all of them, should learn English, but I think, on the other hand, more Americans should learn a second language. And I do know some Spanish, believe it or not. I can tell you that this is, I believe this says Forum for Immigration and Fraud Prevention. And you can see here, guess who's hosting this? All right? Dina Titus. Now, I suggest you research Dina Titus. There's a lot of fishy and not so pretty things that I have seen and discovered about this woman. Just like 98% of all these politicians, which I really don't appreciate. And you can see here, food and drinks, immigration resources, Wednesday, August 9th, okay? Community Center of Las Vegas. For more information, please contact Anna, or you can call. So this is what I have right here. This is what you see right in your face, okay? Your tax dollars is being used to fund these events, believe it or not, okay? Keep that in mind. Now, those of you who are living in the Las Vegas area, Clark County, I think immediately you need to talk to your neighbors, friends, and family and attend this event. And just to see what's going on, because this looks suspicious. Now, I don't know if I can make it to this event because I don't know if I have the time. I really need to have more free time to go to these events because, believe it or not, I really have to do some undercover research. I've spoken to a lot of people about this. I've spoken to Rob Lauer of 360 Daily Net. He's been doing a lot of investigation. I called him. I messaged him. Get this word out as much as you can because we have to see what is really, really going on. And what's disturbing about this is very few people, very few elected officials or any of these activists really are aware of what's going on, okay? So let's talk about who's hosting this. This is CISPA Nevada, and basically this is an organization, I believe it's dedicated to climate justice and protecting immigrants. Now, it's kind of ironic how climate change agendas is tying up to immigration rights. And I guess it seems that they're so desperate that they have to sort of like, come together so they can get what they want. But the question is not whether they're fighting for immigrant rights or climate justice. The important thing is how they're doing it. Are they raising your taxes? Are they causing problems and concerns among the American people? That is the largest concern. Now look at this. The Nevada Immigrant Coalition. So there's all these NGOs. And by the way, it doesn't surprise me that a lot of these NGOs, I'm looking at their funding. I doubt that they're funded by billionaires like George Soros, but you never know. Okay, because you can see how the Open Society Institute is strangling and putting their arms around it. Now you can see here, Dina Titus. Now, as far as I know, I do believe that Dina Titus has some connection to George Soros, because if you look at her campaign contributions, Emily List was a large super PAC that's heavily funded by Soros, and they donate to people like Masto, and I believe some other folks like Titus and Shelley Berkeley. And then look at this right here, Consulado de Mexico de Las Vegas. Now, the question is, what is their goal? The question is, are they really trying to help the people? And if they are they doing things that jeopardizes the lives of American citizens? Because if they are, then this organization needs to change or shut down. So you can see here basically what and how exactly their plan is really headed. All right? So now I don't want to make people sound like that they are misunderstanding me. I'm not suggesting that I have anything against immigrants regardless of their status. It's not like I have, really any hatred or have a desire to, kick them out immediately. Okay? Because that's not the issue is. Okay? The real issue, of course, is the fact that there's an agenda being pushed here. There is corruption being pushed here. And by the way, there's all these people that are being promoted. There's all these people that are being brought in, and either they're shills or either they don't know that they're being fooled. Because even if you're an immigrant, even if you're undocumented, you should know that events like these are very likely not on the best interest of you. In other words, this woman, Dina Titus, as it seems, not only she doesn't care about U.S. citizens, but she doesn't even care about non-legal immigrants. She wants you. She's using you. Now, I want to talk a lot about these people. It doesn't surprise me if some people like Astrid Sylvia is there. By the way, Astrid Sylvia is one of these non-legal immigrants that's being promoted and pumped by Reid. So that way the public can feel like, oh, these people, we have to feel sorry for them. And of course they are going through hardship. But the point is that you support the crony Reid agenda. And there's a number of these organizations that's promoting this. The Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada. Now, let's take a look at this organization right here. And let's see what these people are. Now, I have nothing really against this organization, as in like I hate them or anything. In fact, I do believe that most likely a lot of these people mean well. But then again, you don't know. You can't trust anybody, especially their members. As you can see right here, let me show you one right. I can pretty much point it out. A lot of these people, as you can see, are Brown Girl Magazine, deportation policies. And again, I understand you probably mean well for this country, but the problem is that you're pushing an agenda that's putting our lives in jeopardy, okay? In other words, people like Dina Titus and Reid are using you to support corruption. Look at this woman right here, Erica Castro. And you can see here, she is immigrant organizing, immigration reform, and she started Dream Big Las Vegas, undocumented youth. Okay? So you see where this is all headed to. So I just have a question. If you really mean well, Maybe you should work with the American people and not support these disgusting, corrupt politicians that want to raise our taxes. So this is exactly the real concern that I'm talking about, because of the fact that you're going to have to work for the American people. So the whole important thing about this issue right here, the immigration concern, whatever that it is not the fact that whether these undocumented people go or stay, because that's not the most important issue. The most important issue is their corruption and is there self-interest by special interest groups to pump these people in. Okay? That is the most important issue. And the problem is many of these people who are attending these events, they're feeding into this corruption. And they're not willing, or they don't even know, to make the right deal that benefits the American people. Okay? So now you ask yourself, well, how is that this woman is not in the best interest of the people? Because she's providing advice. Well, a lot of these corrupt people, whether they're politicians or salesmen, they do some helpful things to lure you in. But then when they sucker you in, then they put you in a trap. That's how con agendas work. It's just like Maxine Waters, where she has this charisma and she attracts a lot of African Americans. But in reality, a politician who is pro-Wall Street, pro-military industrial complex, pro of these crony trade deals, that's not a benefit for African Americans. Just like the California Latino legislature that raises their taxes. And again, this is the largest concern with massive immigration. It feeds in corruption. We get these elected officials, which we sort of do have right now in the state. You know, we have Kinsella. She's part of the legislature of Nevada. We'll have to see what she does. Either she's being tricked, or maybe she's a hired tool to basically to further destroy the state and turn it into the East Wing of California. And again, these politicians, they raise their taxes, and not only they jeopardize the lives of the American people, but they also jeopardize the lives of even the non-legalized immigrants. Again, these people don't really care about you. I suggest you watch this clip from deceased comedian George Carlin about the owners of this country and how these politicians don't really care about you. Again, this woman, Dina Titus, she just wants you to be citizens so you can vote for her corrupt ideas. That's what this is all about. This is about so that you can support their tax increases, so that you can be fooled, so you can extend the Harry Reid agendas. They pump you into these foolish elections, these foolish politicians. And by the way, I'm not suggesting that just because I criticize Dina Titus that you immediately support the Republican Party. I think that there's a lot of flaws within that party as well. 98% of the politicians, even the politicians that are pro-deportation, I'm not for them, because some of them want deportation for their own self-interest so that they can benefit the prison industry, they can benefit the security industry, they can use it as a distraction from the more important issues like Wall Street and the military-industrial complex. The fact is that the problem is that both political parties are using it as division, okay? They're using it as a way to create fighting between the country so that we don't stay united. So those of you who are not here legally, at least work with people like me and the American people so we can come up with a plan to fix this country. So, in other words, if we're concerned about higher taxes, work with us so that we can pay lower taxes. So if you just want to become a citizen right away, you know, it's not going to be like you're going to become a citizen, boom, and it's done. There has to be some guidelines. You're going to have to address our concerns. And our concerns are also important to you, as a matter of fact. So if you're going to stand there and support the Harry Reid agenda, well, that's the real problem. The problem are these politicians that are being fed by these people, not the actual immigrants themselves that are looking for a better life. Okay? And by the way, just because you're not here in the country legally and you can't vote does not mean you don't have any impact on the political process. Okay? One of the reasons why perhaps that many of these politicians get support is because when these non-legal immigrants move to a certain area or a district, there's all these gerrymandering. It boosts the population to get more congressional representatives so that it boosts support for people like Dina Titus and Ruben Kihuen and so forth. And that's a way that they can impact. They can also, believe it or not, talk to their friends and family who are legal citizens. That's another impact. They can also go door knocking and do some movements and rallying to support politicians, which almost all these politicians don't really care about them. In other words, like me, I did some videos and I did some awareness about the city council and the mayoral election of the city of Henderson. But of course, I don't live in the city of Henderson. However, I still believe I had an impact. So just to really top it off, to really know about these politicians, you have to really know about their campaign contributions because it really shows who these people are. All right? So you can see here, these are the campaign contributions of Dina Titus. And by the way, Dina Titus has this face that I can't even stand looking at. She just reminds me of that Mayor Deborah Marsh, which I will expose more and more. And by the way, if we were to remove Deborah Marsh away from office, I could actually possibly use this as a domino effect. Okay, so I have to find out. I'm just looking at where are her. Okay, so let's take a look. And donors. Okay, so you can see here who these people are. Look at this. The largest campaign contribution is MGM Resorts International. They hire lobbyists. Ta-ta-ta. And I have a good feeling that the CEO of James Murren is heavily good friends with Dina Titus. So if you guys really think that Dina Titus actually gives a rat's about you, think again, okay? And by the way, Jim Murren really showed his real colors when he talked about immigration in the 2016 presidential election. Sounds like he hires non-legal immigrants to work at his properties. Maybe we should possibly charge him or do something so that he actually follows the law. So you can see here all these union groups, Caesars Entertainment, they all hire lobbyists, largely union groups, but then again, union groups can actually be corrupted as well. So there you have it. This shows you the real color. And I will do a video talking about Jim Murren pretty soon. So that's what this is all about. This is all about perpetuating the agenda. Those of you who are talking about the children of non-legal immigrants, the biggest concern is that they're being used to pump up these politicians. The Dina Tituses of the world are going to say, oh, I love you, I care about you. But they're using this to turn the state or the country perhaps into another third world country. So those of you who are children, undocumented youth, why don't you get yourself educated and informed and don't feed into this corruption? These politicians most likely don't give you a rat's about you. Wake up. Stand up. I'm willing to help you. Maybe if you're concerned about all this racial tension that you're getting, maybe if you're wondering why people really want to deport you so badly, is because you're not aware about possible solutions that can work for all of us. All right? We don't want to turn into the East Wing of California where our taxes go up. All right, this is all I have to tell you. Spread the information about this. Spread the link, spread the video to everybody you know in Clark County.